All right, welcome back to Allegheny Health Network Nightly Sports Call. Mark Recchi will officially be a Hall of Famer November 13th when he gets enshrined. He got the call today. He's one of a handful of players that are going to be enshrined November 13th in Toronto. This is much deserved, Gene. He's been passed over the last 3 years, which I don't understand why. He's the 12th leading scorer in NHL all-time history. Played 22 seasons. What else could this guy do? He has 5 total cups now, 3 as a player and 2 as a front office guy.
Yeah, it's hard to understand how these things work. Of course, every sport is different in the way that they select Hall of Famers, and some make more sense than others. But in every sport, this is common. I mean, people will be on the ballot for years and years and finally make it. And it really doesn't make any sense. Not that they're adding to their resume in any way. But I guess it just takes a couple of years for people to consider them strongly enough to put them in, but yeah, this is overdue.
Are you familiar with the NHL's selection process? I know they have an 18-person panel. I didn't know if hockey writers had anything to do with it like baseball.
I don't know.
All right. Well, that's something that I'll have to look up. All right, Max Kronberg just tweeted me and you, is it likely the Pirates would trade Cole or McCutchen? If so, who would it be? Thanks. I mean, I think McCutchen is good as gone. Don't think they would trade Cole, though, at least now.
I wouldn't assume that either are gone. McCutchen more likely, I suppose. But you have to see where they are in a month. They're still a month away. I don't know.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. And we got Brad in Duncansville. How you doing, Brad? Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Rich. Hi, Gene. How are you guys?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I have 2 Penguin comment and a Pirate question for you both.
Okay.
My Penguin comment is I would like the Penguins get Evander Kane and Brian Elliott for backup goalie. And my Pirate question is I would like to see the Pirates get rid of Tony Watson and Daniel Hudson and go. The other reports I've been hearing, I read today that they're going to try to get Anderson from the Mets.
Well, all right, thanks a lot for your call. I know the Mets are trying to unload just about everyone, Gene, but I don't even know what you can get for Tony Watson. The guy's 6 blown saves. He's one of the worst pitchers in the bullpen. I think he's mentally shot right now. He can't find the right pitch. I mean, it's like I try to use the analogy of something that I do every day. I play golf, and if I miss a 2-foot putt, the next hole, if I miss it again, now I'm a head case for the entire round and maybe for the entire week. And I think this is his problem right now. Tony Watson, I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably a good analogy. I think there's value in him, though. So I think he's one of those pitchers that if he had to change of scenery or something like that, he would bounce back. And as for Evander Kane, yeah, we'd like to have Evander.
That would be nice to have Evander Kane. I mean, they would have to pull off some kind of trade. As for Brian Elliott, I think he's a free agent.
Complete restructuring of the salary structure.
Yeah, I think Evander Kane is about a $6 or $7 million guy. He might be tough to sign. Brian Elliott could potentially be a good veteran backup goaltender, which I think they'll go in that direction. I don't know about Brian Elliott, but a veteran goaltender.
They do need that, I think.
All right, let's go out to Jerry in Hempfield. How you doing, Jerry?
Hey, Rich.
Thanks for calling.
Hey,
Yep.
Rich, I'm going to go back a little while ago. When I called in, I said the Penguins, they should get a bruiser like Ulf Samuelsson they had a long time ago.
Yeah.
And you guys disagree with me saying, well, we don't need them kind of players, just a good player.
Did I disagree with you? Or was it Gene? Or was it Bob? Was it Ron?
Somebody said there that you don't need that type of player right now for the Penguins.
I agree, but I want to hear you out, Jerry.
Okay, and I said, well, the way they're singling out Crosby, you got to protect him. Now, Rutherford, he's seen the light. He went out and got himself a Rough Rider, and he's saying, now, you're going to hurt Sidney, we're going to come after you. So finally he got somebody, and he paid a good price, but this guy could also skate, but yet he's going to be somebody who's going to say, you hurt Crosby? Watch out, I'm going to come after you. I think this is a good deal. Now, do you think that they shouldn't have got him? I think they should have got somebody like this a long time ago. I'll listen to what you say.
All right, thanks a lot,
guys.
Jerry. I appreciate it. I know I was here Friday when they made the trade, Gene. I think Paul was with me that day. But, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. This guy isn't a guy that can help you in the postseason, but he can keep you relatively healthy, I think, during the regular season. Do you think this was an important – I mean, listening to Jim Rutherford, he was adamant that they needed a guy like this, and he was the best one out there, and why not get him? If he's going to be a fourth-line guy, maybe third line, do you have an opinion on it? I mean, do you feel like it's a waste because he won't be able to help you in the postseason?
Why won't he be able to help?
Well, I mean, do you want a guy like this on the ice? He's only playing 8 minutes. He potentially is going to cause you to put the other team on a power play, take a stupid penalty. He's been known for that. That's, I think, would be. This isn't the team's MO the last couple years. They're the team that just tries to stay away from all this stuff.
Well, I don't know the point in getting him if he's not going to help you in the postseason. But, you know, I mean, they've won 2 Stanley Cups without this type of player. Now I understand what Jimmy Rutherford is, where he's coming from. He's tired of seeing people taking liberties, I'll use the phrase.
Yeah.
Especially on his star players. So he wants to do something about it, finally. So, okay, do something about it. Is it necessary? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You made a good point. That's a good point right there. They won 2 Stanley Cups without a guy like this, and now you're getting a guy like this. And, yeah, I mean, maybe Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and those guys need some kind of backup. But during the regular season, I thought you kind of had that guy with Tom Sestito. And
yeah, but you didn't use him much. I mean, this guy will be a regular player, and he has offensive skills.
So, okay. I go back and forth with that trade a little bit. I don't think they really gave up much. They weren't going to ever use Oscar Sundqvist. He didn't really fit into their plans. So they
had depth there.
Yeah, they basically gave up nothing and moved back 20 spots for this guy that might be able to help them for 1 year. We'll see what happens. Do you think, this is from Derek Allen, do you think the Pens will try to sign Hainsey on the cheap for defensive depth? Gene, what do you think?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think he's I think he's on the older side of things, and I don't know if they want to pay him that kind of money. But how about Joe Like Sports says, if the Pens sign Schultz long term, will they be looking in the free agent market for a defenseman? I still think that's one of their priorities, is a defenseman. I mean, it seems like they have their 6 right now, but you can always use another guy. You saw what happened.
They're always looking for those people, absolutely. And I don't think Haynes will be here. So yeah, you need somebody probably to fill something out. But I don't think that's a big priority.
All right, let's go out to John in Banksville. How you doing, John?
Hi guys, how you doing tonight?
Thanks for calling.
Not to beat a dead horse, but in regard and with what the last guy said regarding this trade, first of all. It's surprising to me that on Twitter, Facebook, and some sports people, you'd think we traded Malkin to get this guy.
I know. That's what's. I agree with you there.
And I was watching the Sunday show last night, and Andrew Filipponi hates the trade, which gives a strong indication he may be great. But what I think is this: the guy Sullivan seems to, and Rutherford seems to think the guy has more talent than we're all giving him credit for. He's much better skater than Sestito. And if you saw Sullivan's comments, he's very high on the guy and thinks he can improve his game. And also, if you look at St. Louis, number one, he was protected on the list. And a lot of the St. Louis fans, I go around a lot of these NHL blogs, a lot of the St. Louis fans were very bummed out that they traded him. But to sum it up, if Mike Sullivan likes him, with the success that he's had over the last 2 years, who am I to say no? If Sullivan likes him, then I'm going to give him a shot too. And that's about all I have to say.
All right, John, you make some great points, and I would like to bring that up. That a lot of those St. Louis Blues fans, when you read the comments, everyone's kind of upset about that. So it makes you think what the people in St. Louis really thought of this guy, and he was a good locker room guy, from what I understand, a fan favorite. So I would imagine he's going to be the same thing here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not saying I don't want him. I'm just saying, I'm not clear on why this player is necessary right now, but. As Mike Sullivan said, and this is a good point by the caller, he feels like in the Penguins system, Reeves can really improve his offensive game, and he's a decent offensive player to begin with. So he helps you. I think he helps you without having to hit anybody really. So more power to him.
Yeah, he has 7 goals, but I think the numbers are a little deceiving because of the role he plays. But they all said how good of a skater he is. So we're going to see here in camp when camp starts in September. All right now we got to take a break here on the Allegheny Health Network Nightly Sports Call. Back in a couple minutes with more phone calls and more tweets.